This is what I mean when I say Ugandans are waking up. It is very funny that so many individuals that have built a reputation through critiquing the government and posing as opposition members are currently disgracing themselves, and Ugandans are seeing through their lies. This clique is very consistent in terms of disintegrating every credible opposition that Yoweri Kaguta Museveni has faced. No wonder Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, in his own words, predicted that by the year 2020, there will be no more opposition. There had to be a reason as to why this man was this confident. There had to be a reason as to why he could count on that timing for himself, at least to his advantage, that Uganda is better off without an opposition. Unfortunately, this has come at a cost, because if you're to look through the legacy of Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, you will quickly acknowledge the fact that he has spent so much money in keeping himself in power. And one of the most particular and telling layers of his actions towards ensuring that his overly ambitious plan of retaining power also includes disintegrating any credible opposition around him, building the Trojan horse over and over again to sort of like undermine any credibility of the opposition, so that people will quickly just realize, well, what is the point? So that people are so helpless and they don't really feel that there is a need to even vote anymore, that there is a need to even follow the path of becoming politicians and representing their areas as members of parliament or whatever level of leadership that is available within the constitution of Uganda. So this strategy is peeling before our own eyes, and people are saying, you know what, we can see you. We thought you were for us. We thought you really stood for the affairs of our country, and that you would make sure that you keep Yoweri Kaguta Museveni and these criminals accountable to the Ugandans at the very most. Yeah. So I rarely introduce myself. My name is Omufirika Andrew, and I created this channel to highlight the awakening of Ugandans and to bring it before you, conversations that matter. Either it could be reactions or any sort of series that I am working on. Currently, I am exploring as an artist to visually reveal what is underneath the true identity of Uganda as it stands. For the last 40 years, can we still be confident that our national emblems are intact? When a nation is in captivity, I think it calls for a conversation about misrepresentation or deception. And I feel that our national symbols, through our national symbols as evoked through the Constitution of Uganda, there is a chance for us to have a conversation about that. So look out for those series. I'll be bringing for you segments. I could make it as a segment of A Tale of Two Birds, but also artworks that I'm going to be making to sort of like create an argument about the state of our nation and why we should understand that our nation being in captivity, it means that across the board, we cannot confidently proclaim the national symbols to represent us when innocent Ugandans are locked up because of their political views. Some are even unalive because of their political opinion. So let me get down into the story. I'm talking about the opposition members, the likes of Mukaku and Muhammad Nsereko. These individuals went ahead and created their own political party. And one thing that is so strange about these individuals, they have been so consistent in making sure that the objectives of the president, who proclaimed confidently that one day we will not have any political opposition. Yes, by the year 2020, Museveni himself, that he will destroy the opposition and it will be no more. In fact, the last elections, the first elections that Bobi Wine, aka Kyagulanyi Sentamu, aka Bobi Wine, challenged him, he pointed out that the Kyagulanyis, he will deal with them, will destroy Kyagulanyi and his group. This old man His understanding of democracy is anybody that dares to challenge him, even if it is within the constitutional framework as mandated, that power belongs to the people, is automatically an enemy of the state. And you can be charged by treason. No wonder military court has been so busy. It has gotten busier every year because civilians have to face the court martial simply because he supports someone that is not Yoweri Kaguta Museveni. And your crime is treason. No wonder he was so confident in destroying the opposition, because the individuals I am talking about, Mukaku, Mavike, Mathias Mpuuga, these are in charge of making sure that Museveni's strategy of the Trojan horse is intact and it is effective. They pose as opposition members, leaving a trail of dysfunction behind them. And in this, I mean leaving a trail of disintegrated political parties from the Democratic Party, Forum for Democratic Change, I think that is FDC. Yes, those ones were infiltrated. Now we know who was the puppet master behind these disintegrations. I have to look back at the time when Museveni really got a credible challenge from the late Dr. Paul Kawanga Ssemwogerere. It was at a time when I was still an ardent supporter of Yoweri Kaguta Museveni and his NRM. I always had this argument that the NRM is rotten. It's just the people that surround Museveni. Museveni means well. Remember those gullible arguments that people normally have, that I am the supporter of Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, I don't like the NRM. I was literally in the same boat. So this Mr. Paul Kawanga Ssemwogerere, the country owes him an apology, because he was put in the category as an enemy of the state when he challenged Yoweri Kaguta Museveni. In fact, at his height, it coincided with the influence of Democratic Party. No wonder after his challenge, we started noticing the cracks in the Democratic Party. It became another case of Museveni's antagonistic strategy. The DP is now a laughingstock with its current leadership, Norbert Mao, a justice minister, a man who himself described the likes of Anita Among and Betty Kamya as wheelbarrows. If you jump ship and join Museveni, you are like a wheelbarrow. He's going to use you like a wheelbarrow. Now, guess who is a minister of justice? Norbert Mao. Yeah, these individuals have been double dealing for years, and Ugandans are finally catching on. So many of them, at least some I did not trust, like Muhammad Nsereko. From the go, the rise of Kyagulanyi Ssentamu, Muhammad Nsereko has never been kind to this man. You would think that Bobi Wine is the reason as to why Muhammad Nsereko is losing popularity in his constituency, Kampala Member of Parliament. You would think that Kyagulanyi Ssentamu has been in politics for the same amount of time that Muhammad Nsereko has been. You can see through it that there's such a sinister motive which is so rooted in jealousy for the case of Muhammad Nsereko, and people are seeing through it. When he does all these TikTok lives trying to berate Bobi Wine, a man who never even responds to him, it becomes so laughable because the people call into those lives on social media and they give it to him straight that we don't care what you're speaking of Kyagulanyi Ssentamu. We do not care. Now, the delegates conference, when they chose Mathias Mpuuga in his new party that he has formed, there was Muhammad Nsereko. And his entire speech was directed to only one party, the National Unity Platform. And then you wonder, how did we get to a point whereby the primary role of an opposition party is to make sure that another party that is on a mission of unseating a president that has glued himself in the seat, it is of much more importance to undermine who is now the main challenger of removing Museveni. Ugandans have taken to social media and have said, well, we do not care. when you're trying to defend Mathias Mpuuga, evidence is literally in public domain that this man was given a service award. No opposition leader in parliament has received that much money while in office for a job well done. When the party that literally chose him, who chose Mathias Mpuuga, it was Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu. He's the one who chose this man. You would think that Mathias Mpuuga chose himself to become the leader of opposition. Without the mandate of the National Unity Platform, there would have been no consideration of this man. They know the real reason as to why Mathias Mpuuga left the National Unity Platform. Ugandans are saying, no, this is a sign that people are waking up. Ugandans have always known that there has always been a sinister motive by the ruling party to undermine any challenge that is posed through the structures of the opposition, which is why they go at every length, shamelessly making sure that any supporter of the opposition, especially now currently the National Unity Platform, will be subjected to as much torture as possible, to the point that some people have actually lost their lives. So when I speak on these members of the so-called individuals that duped Ugandans into thinking that they are opposition members, my heart breaks, because I ask myself one question. How can these people ignore the fact that the positions that they sit in are not just through votes, but through the blood of innocent Ugandans that have been unalived simply because they are following them on their campaign trails? How can they have a conscience? How can these people have a conscience? People's lives were at stake for them to attain these positions. Some of these people are still alive but are languishing in jail simply because they pushed for the popularity of the National Unity Platform. The likes of Machete, Akilewo, Olivia Lutaya, who endured such a long time in prison, now she's free. Many people's lives is under threat, and some have been subjected to heinous methods of torture while under detention. But these opposition members decide to betray the blood of innocent Ugandans. Make it make sense. But Ugandans are waking up. They can see through the lies of Muhammad Nsereko. They can see through the lies of Mathias Mpuuga, the Mokakus of this world. And they understand that Museveni's opposition has been a sham. When the government itself empowers its opposition, you can notice that this has been such a sham. And thanks for the rise of Kyagulanyi Ssentamu, more Ugandans are waking up. I sign out. Please, guys, remember to like, share, and subscribe. This has been a long video, I know, but until next time, let's talk. Bye.